Hey, everybody, it's Jeremy Osterberger with BIC Magazine. I'm really excited to be joined by Michael Richter, President and CEO of Associated Builders and Contractors of Greater Houston and the Construction and Maintenance Education Foundation, which is ABC's education affiliate. So, CMEF, for folks that are not familiar, is a nonprofit organization committed to workforce development in the industrial construction industry with nationally accredited training programs through the National Center for Construction Education and Research, NCCER. And CMEF also works closely with owners and contractors to ensure the next generation of craft professionals are trained to meet the demands in the greater Houston area. Michael, thank you so much for hanging out.
Thanks for having me. My pleasure to do this.
Well, look, man, I had a great time at the Political Action Committee Clay Shoot. For folks that aren't familiar with that event, it's one of my favorite of the year. And I said we had a blast. That's a pun, by the way, just letting you know that. So thanks for having us out, man. I think the event was great.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming.
Well, let's dig right into it, Michael. So, for those who may not be familiar, just give us a quick overview of CMEF's mission and how it supports the industrial construction workforce here in the Houston area.
Okay. All right. Well, this will be the only part of the interview where I'm probably going to actually read off of something, but I want to give you the actual vision we have. Then I'll
Sure.
go ahead and read off the mission statement. The vision is that CMEF will be recognized as the best and most affordable craft training, workforce development, and professional development resource on the U.S. Gulf Coast. That's the vision, and we'll get into a little bit more of that in the rest of this conversation. But the mission statement verbatim says that to develop and administer cost-effective training, skills assessments, and other workforce development programs that will increase the quality and availability of construction and maintenance employees and communicate career opportunities, promote a positive image for the industry, and meet the needs of owners and contractors and their employees in the greater Houston area. So that's our mission, and that's what we're all about. And I think it's important to note this mission is revolved around community-based efforts and community-based relationships and collaboration.
And expound upon that a little bit, Michael. Talk about that community base for maybe folks that don't really understand what that means.
Well, when you talk about the industry, there's been a lot of talk about a shortage of skilled craft workers out there. It's been around since I was a baby. It's been around a long, long time. We all know that. It's not a problem that's been solved. It's something that we constantly try to make better, to get more in that pipeline. You got to remember, we got a lot of people up for retirement.
Yep.
And one of the pipelines is as far as how the community works comes together is it's not just the owners and contractors that are involved and see the need, but it's other partners like high schools and colleges and other entities that can train and help on the training side of it and the pipeline side of that. So for that reason, we have relationships with anybody that's an ancillary, that's like-minded in this effort to try to get a hold of this problem because production's high. That's always good. Production will get higher, and especially as the economy goes up and down. But to put ourselves in a spot where we don't have the skilled labor to accomplish what we need to do could be detrimental for a lot of things on top of just the economy.
Makes sense. So, Michael, you've been involved with CMEF for nearly a decade and served as the CEO of both ABC and CMEF. Look, have you seen how have you seen CMEF evolve over the years, and what's kind of your current vision for where things are headed?
Well, I got to say, when I came on board 10 years ago with CMEF, our primary role was to work with the contractors and the owners to upskill their current workforce. And we'll get to the high school side in a minute, but let's talk about the current workforce. And the way we did that was basically we would gather these employees and these craft workers and working with the owners and contractors, we'd basically send them to the local community college.
Hmm.
And we'll get into the cents per hour program, how that's funded and everything in a minute, but we'd send them out to the community colleges. I think the biggest improvement we've made probably about 6 years ago now in 2019 was that we had a facility in LaPorte. We still have a facility
Mhm.
of two buildings, and then we expanded that to four buildings and some acreage, and we were able to create our own campus. And therefore, we weren't limited on seats because the colleges have their other business they need to do too. They're not just around for us. Again, back to the community. So we were able to open our own campus and then still keep that relationship with the colleges. So anything that we could not provide, we would have the colleges as a partner to help us. And the goal now is to fill up both, fill up our campus and also fill up all the seats that we're given from the colleges. But just to give an example, one thing that's not economically viable for us to provide as far as training at our campus is welding. Welding is that's a very expensive program to run, but the colleges are supplemented in funding for that, and so that's a great partnership example right there. We don't want to offer that; it would be detrimental to us financially, but we have the partners, and so they open the seats for us, and we send our students over there. So I think that one of the biggest developments would be that we created our own campus to help put a better footprint in the effectiveness of training and accessibility of training being right there in the port as well. I mean, we're right next to 225, next to all these plants. So they get off work, they come straight over to us.
No, no question, Michael. And flipping over to workforce development and really what's ahead, I mean, how would you assess the current state of the industrial construction workforce in our region? And what is CMF doing in meeting those challenges really down the road? What are we seeing coming up?
Well, we're going to see a continual need for more skilled labor. I think one of the biggest challenges we have is that everybody wants everybody to be so experienced and just start on the job and know everything on day one,
Right.
and that's not realistic. Um, One of the challenges we have with our high school program is we have 44 high schools that we sponsor right now with NCCR training within their schools. Well, that's a fantastic pipeline. But at the end of the day, they're still seniors in college and seniors in high school. And when they get out, they don't have the experience part of what's needed. And so it's difficult to place all of these people because everybody wants somebody with a little bit of experience. So that's a challenge to me is to find more contractors and owners that are open to taking somebody from day one, basically, with a few credentials out of high school and give them their pathway. So we're closing that gap. We have a committee that's designed, just for that purpose to make sure that those partnerships go even further and that we connect these employers with the pipeline that we had coming out of the high schools. We also have partnerships with veterans groups like Next Stop in Houston is a good one where they can go through and comb through veterans that are looking to get into the industry that have come out of the service and do a lot of screening for us and then refer them to us and we'll put them to training. And then but the same thing, you have the experience part that might be lacking on that. And so having those partners back to community base, partners within the contractor and owner community that they get that because it's part of solving the problem. If we have a craft worker shortage, then obviously I can't spoon feed experienced craft workers because that's what we don't have. And so it's these partnerships that really go towards knowing the long-term goal. And I think that's something that it's a great opportunity that's been in front of us for years now. It's gotten a lot better. We've been more effective at it, and I hope to continue on that path.
Thanks, Michael. So, look, one of the key ways CMEF operates is through its cents per hour program. Can you break down how that works and why it's such an important part of funding workforce training?
Yeah, the cents per hour program, a lot of the chapters on the Gulf Coast have a similar, or in Texas area have a similar program. So, in a nutshell, if you become a contributor, that's what we call people that participate in that, or companies that participate in that. They're a contributor of a program called the TCA, which is the Training Contributor Agreement. And they basically just sign a little pledge, and they say they're going to give 6 cents for every working man hour that they have on a job site as a donation to CMAP. It's just a donation. And they get the tax benefits at the end of the year for all that. So they commit to that. So if it's a larger contractor and they have a couple million man hours per year, that's a couple million man hours times 6 cents, and they'll divvy that up monthly or however they want to pay us, and then we'll get that donation. So what's in it for them though? Now, obviously, we want everybody to be on board with the community-based approach that this is better for everybody because, the workforce out there is kind of transient. They'll work for one company one day, and the next day they'll be across town working for some other company. So wouldn't we want to make sure that we're taking care of the pool? They get that. But however, what's in it for them immediately? Well, immediately, if you're in a 6 cents per hour program, which by the way, we're the lowest rate of any other area or chapter that does this. We're trying to keep it at 6 cents for many, many years now. If you participate in that, what's the benefit immediately? Well, you get 70 to 85% off the training itself of the semester-based programs. And they all cost different amounts, but just to make it easy for math, typically right now, if a semester-based program or something simple at our campus or even at the college that we send them over there because it's all the same price for them. If it costs $1,000 and they're in a cents per hour program, they only pay $200 on average. So that's for 16 weeks. 16 weeks of sending somebody 2 nights a week for 4 hours each, 8 hours a week for 16 weeks. And that includes everything but the book. That's all your materials, your instructors, your facility, everything else. So that's a steal. And then there's other programs that we have. We have assessments. They can come and take assessments at our office. We have performance verifications, basically same type of discounts just by being in a cents per hour program. So back to the community approach, some companies donate 6 cents and don't really send that many people because they get that this is something we're all in together. Other companies do 6 cents and they really take advantage of the discounts and they try to train and get what they can out of it, which is fine. That's what it's for. We're doing this to have the effect on people. So cents per hour is really the bulk of our revenue for the program, but it doesn't just support training and it's not just for that immediate discount. Roughly about 2 cents out of that 6 cents goes to support our high school programs.
Okay.
Like I mentioned earlier, we're in 44 high schools. We sponsor their training programs in 44 places and 23 ISDs. That's not free. There's
Wow.
staff that's involved in that. There's other costs. There's like their offices and their computers and their art, tech and all this stuff. It's all cost money. But so when you're in a cents per hour program, you're not only getting your immediate benefits, you're not only helping the community on the training side of actual training, but you're helping that pipeline going to the youth in the high school level. You're helping fund all those things and more, really, in that 1 6 cents per hour per man hour donation.
Makes sense. No, thanks, Mike, for explaining the cents per hour program. So, with the demand for skilled craft professionals continue to grow, and I would say change, how is CMAF engaging with contractors and owners to shape relevant industry-led training and assessments?
One of the big key factors in that
Yep.
is, and this goes with ABC too. We have a lot of committees because we want to make sure we can zero in on a certain topic or a certain concern or something we're trying to really move the needle on. And in this case, we have what's called the Craft Training Committee. And their mission, I do not have in front of me to read right off the paper, but their mission basically it's a committee of contractors and owners that come together to let us know what the demands are out there, when they change, how they're changing, and what to be looking out for to make sure that we're ready. And I'll give you an example. I think about 7 years ago, I couldn't find two people that needed millwright training in the millwright
Huh.
craft. But because of this committee letting us know what was coming, what was on the horizon, now it's one of our largest and most demand classes. So much so that I have to run those at CMEF and the colleges. So we're doing them both places. When 7 years ago, I couldn't find two. And
Wow.
so had it not been for this committee formed of contractors and owners who were out there with everything, their fingers on the pulse of everything, we would not have seen that coming. And nor have we would we have been prepared for it. So that's a big key factor because that relationship we have with the owners and contractors, specifically in this example with that committee, but it doesn't have to be just that committee. We have, I have relationships all over the place with contractors and owners. So that's our biggest way of knowing the changes that are coming, how it evolves, how the industry evolves. Otherwise, we just kind of would be behind on the changes and have to play catch up all the time.
Makes sense. So one other question I got for you, Michael, is what message would you share with industry leaders and stakeholders about why supporting workforce development through CMEF if they feel maybe it's just not necessary? I mean, what is your message to them if they feel that way?
The message is we're all in this together. And I'll give an example without giving a name. I had a meeting with a very large contractor years ago, and they wanted me to tour their training facility. And so I went and toured their training facility, and part of the tour was to take me down to their hiring office. And at their hiring office, they were telling me, like, they said every Thursday there's a line around the block of people trying to come on board with us. And I said, let me ask you something to be very honest. Of this line around the block, How many people have at one point or another been educated through a program sponsored by CMEF? Just off the top of your head, because this guy's been there a long time. And he said, well, more than half.
Okay.
But that's my point right there. The This contractor is hiring these people that have never worked there before, but one of the highlights to them was they had people coming in that have already touched training in some form or fashion. Because, like I said before, they go from this company, that company, and now they're on the doorstep of this company, and
Yep.
they are getting the benefits now. So that's my thing. My message to them is that we're all in this together. Don't make it just for what we need and what we want right now. Don't be afraid to train your people because they might leave you. Because if you don't train them, do you want them to stay? It's all about the pool. Nobody's going to disagree about the transient style of the transient nature of our industry. And so if we all stick with each other in it together, uh, to make the entire pool that we have continue to upskill and to continue to bring in qualified people that are interested and desire to be in the industry, everybody at some point is going to benefit from that.
Makes sense, Michael. It's summertime. Jump in the pool, man. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
well, Michael, look, man, we got so much we could talk about for today. We'll end it, but I just wanted to let you know you're welcome to come on anytime. And there's all kind of legislative issues and things that happen involved with ABC. We have a good relationship with the ABC National as well on federal issues. And just wanted to tell you, thank you for everything you do. Appreciate your career, and thank you for being such a partner with BIC.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, appreciate everyone being on today. Michael, let me ask you this. If someone wants to learn more about CMEF, where should they go?
They can go to onlinecmef.org or they can go to abchouston.org. You can get there either way. The online cmef.org page is being redesigned right now, but it's there. So it's going to be a whole lot better in the next few weeks, but it's there. But you can get there two different paths. So onlinecmef.org or abchouston.org, or you can just call the CMEF office at 281-478-3900. Ask for me directly or ask for our managing director. His name is Carlos. He'll be happy to speak with anybody. We welcome that. We like to give tours. You can come by the office. We'll give you a tour. We'll chat you up. We'll answer all the questions anybody has. But that's a good spot.
Michael, thank you so much. And as always, we're so thankful for our audience for watching. Remember, for more videos, news, podcasts, and intelligence, visit bicmagazine.com. And remember, it's what we do together that counts.